Yeah, thank you to attend this meeting. And I think let's just have a very great opportunity. We can have this discussion about for the new foundation models and how it can give the impacts for the whole industry. I think before that, let's just maybe you can do some self-introduction first. Maybe Edwin, please.
Okay. So hello everyone. I'm Edwin, and I am CTO of Flux. Basically, we are an AI consulting company in Japan, and we provide AI solutions for enterprises, and also we work them with multiple latitudes. So we do projects and we develop models. And also, actually, we have a research branch with the University of Tokyo. So we did some research with large language models. We released some papers with them. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good afternoon, and what an amazing energy I see in this place. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Mamoon Sbeih. I'm the regional president for APCO in the Middle East and North Africa. We are an advisory firm in public advocacy and in corporate communication. And also, we advise on policy. So we're not really an AI company, but we work with AI companies and organizations like Alibaba Cloud and governments in the Middle East and corporations on understanding the space they work on and how to engage with it.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chee. I'm the CEO of ITL AI Labs. And what we do is that we build sovereign AI. Specifically, we have a large language model that we develop in collaboration with the University of Malaysia. The 1.0, we built it from ground up. The 0.1 version was built on Chenwen. And beyond that, we also use large language model in a digital bank that we own as well. It's called the Right Bank, which I'm the chief product officer there as well.
Okay, great, thank you. Maybe I can also introduce myself first. My name is Haoran. Currently, I'm the director of the AI Innovation Capability Center, and I also do some pre-sale solutions for all of the overseas opportunities, especially in the different industries like financial, retail, manufacturing, government, and so on. So I think let's just move to the first topic first. And it is about the AI path for your local region. And actually from the vantage point for Japan, MENA, and Southeast Asia. So what do you think is that what's the most significant trend and challenge that you are observing in how the organizations are adopting and utilizing AI? So what distinguishes the AI landscape in your respective markets? I think let me just invite Chee. We just meet again, right? So maybe you can just share some of your insights first.
Thanks, Haoran. In fact, Haoran helped us a lot throughout our journey of creation of the large language model. One of the main things about Southeast Asia is the fact that it is multicultural and multi-language. And we should make it a challenge. Even in government in Malaysia, there exist documents and other artifacts that are multi-language and which makes it very challenging in the models that are developed either in the US or in China, simply because US and China are reasonably single lingual, and especially when you have three languages within a same sentence, and that's pretty normal in countries like Malaysia or Singapore. So that is one of the big challenge in Malaysia.
Yes, that's for some mixed dialects just in the same time, and usually if we just use the language to do some fine tunes, actually we just either to choose English or Chinese or specific local language. But in case there is some mixed one, it may have some challenge. So by the way, maybe you can share something more about how you just fix this one or you conquer these challenges.
So it's very interesting, right?
Yeah.
And you are right. Everything is about training data. So how do you get good at a single a multilingual type of environment is simply have a lot of sentences that has like 3 or 4 languages in it, or have one document that has 3 or 4 languages in it. And you can see one of the, for example, one of the bigger use cases that we have is that we use it for coaching. For example, you coach a Malay-speaking person into English, which means that the large language model have to understand not very accurate English that is based on Malay. So that is, which means that you have to have a lot of those kind of data. And the good thing is that we also have a lot of those kind of data in forums and whatnot. The whole point of highly contextualized large language model like Ilmu, which is the large language model that we produce, is that you get to over-index a lot on Malaysian data.
Yes, quite interesting that, let me just try to understand. From the pre-trained phase, actually we need to also build some successes data because we don't have sufficient one. But I'm also a little bit interested with, so how about outputs? So will the outputs will also be mixed language, or usually it could be just for specific one?
That's a very good question, and this is why we actually had to build a large language model from ground up. Is because in order to make it good, the pre-trained data has to have multilingual capability. So we have a lot of multilingual capability in the pre-training front. And surprisingly, in the SFT front, the supervised fine-tuning front, then you start having single language, because otherwise your large language model will randomly spit out like different languages all the time, which can be problematic. So it's very interesting things that we had to do. At first we didn't know, but these are through like many experimentations.
Thank you, fantastic. So now let's maybe go to Mr. Mamoon. I know that you also built some rich consultancy experience, especially on the public affairs and also some public communication parts. So for your perspectives, so what do you think about maybe the challenge, also some of the definition of these new trends, and what's the expectation from the public affairs, and what do you think that your kinds of offering can definitely just leverage this kind of and build some more values to the customers?
Well, the biggest challenge we faced in our industry has to do with understanding the societal changes in our community. You're talking about multiple languages. In the Arabic world, we have, just so you know, Arabic language has 12 million words. English has 600,000. So for us to be able to create models that understand the hundreds of dialects that exist from the Gulf all the way to Morocco is a significant challenge. This has not been yet resolved, just to be clear. So when governments and organizations try to monitor and understand, to be able to engage better with their societies, they're working extremely hard to develop models that understand nuances and languages. And those models that are being built, by the way, I just want to be clear, in the Middle East, they are what we call partner agnostic, meaning they would work with whoever can solve this problem with them. But also they want to create models, and they're starting to build models that are Arabic first. And this is now in the growth zone, but hasn't yet achieved its ultimate objective. Also, they want to work with partners who give them what I believe data sovereignty and AI sovereignty in the regions that they work on. It's an extremely ambitious region. It is now embarking in a new era of growth. They're investing heavily in AI, not as a tool, but as a driver of their progress and a driver of their future development. And therefore, they see it a little bit differently as from a Western society. They see it at the front line. That's why UAE has the very first minister of AI that ever been created in 2017. And this is not for PR purposes, because they see AI as a minister, as somebody who sits with them and helps them build their countries. So the future, so the challenge from our perspective is to help them understand what's happening in their various societies. Second, to create this advisory context that needs to advise those governments and advise those companies like Alibaba Cloud what is happening in the region, keep their finger on the pulse. This is something that we're working on. For APCO, for example, we've created our own model, our own super agent that understands what's happening in the society and advises government live on what they need to do and say.
Yes, I think for the government, they also have so much security concerns and even some political concerns. So we want to at least that to align with the whole policy and also maybe some of the same purpose with that, right?
Well, let me just comment on that.
Yeah.
The Middle East sits in the middle. That's called Middle East.
Okay.
And it sits in the middle of politics. There is huge polarization happening in the world. And therefore, they can see, they are witnessing this transformation of the world from the G7 to the E7, from the great economies or great power, political powers to the great economic powers. They don't want to be aligned with anybody. They want to be agnostic to whoever partners with them. They want a partner who helps them build their own sovereign know-how and sovereign data and sovereign data centers and computing power. And therefore, they are trying, to navigate this very, very complex world that we live in. And they want to build their countries faster than anybody else.
Yeah.
One just example, Abu Dhabi has announced a year ago that by 27, they will be the very first AI native government. This means that everything that's government, in terms of government services, will be AI driven. And every person in Abu Dhabi doesn't need to see any government department in their lives ever again as of 2027. And they're 97% there today.
Yeah, that's why we just consider it as a sovereign AI model rather than just a common foundation models. And by the way, I'm also curious about that. I also received so many common questions when to start first or which one to start first, which means even in the different government, they also have several departments and several business cases. So shall we just start from the specific use case first, or we need to centralize to think about how we just have a centralized platforms to build it from top down, or we just deep dive into this more specific case? What do you think?
Well, they already have started working on the large models and the foundational models, and I think Alibaba Cloud is actually based. I've seen that they have a very good center in the UAE. I think the best, in my view today, the best solution is to go with very specific use cases, to solve a specific problem, to address a specific issue. Try to understand the specificity of the Arabic language and each community, and try to address specific problems in specific sectors.
Yeah.
That would be a much better and much easier way to enter a market like the Middle East.
Yes, that's great. I think now that's just a turn to Mr. Edwin. I just like what we discussed before, actually you are working both, actually not only for the model training, but also for some consultancy parts.
Yes.
So I also know that, especially for the culture of the East Asia, we know that that is user trust and seamless experience and attention to detail, right? So that maybe have a specific, more strict requirements from the business needs. So what do you think in these perspectives, how we just do some business shift from the cost-driven AI mindset to a value creation mindset? So what the transformation looks like and what's the challenge and what's the trend? What do you think?
Okay, so basically for Japanese market, I think the interesting thing is Japan is actually really behind when we're talking about IT usage. So most of especially when we're talking about large enterprises in Japan, they tend to outsource everything to specific IT companies in the past. But in this, in this 2 years, what I witnessed is these large companies, their CIOs, CDOs I've been talking with, they basically say, oh, we have to do AI internally. We have to implement AI inside our own company because it's disruptive. I think this is a totally new thing in the 2 decades, I think. So it's not really happening to Japan that often. So based on that, I think the challenges you're talking about is actually pretty on the same page with what I think. Basically, Japanese large enterprises, they're really concerned about, the first interesting thing is they're concerned about accuracy.
Yeah.
And it's really actually kind of awkward to talk about accuracy with AI because, I mean, in natural, it hallucinates. So it's really hard for you to say, well, you have to do this 99% accurate. So what we do is actually we transform the goal into a more human understandable way, not just by calculating how accurate it is, but by how the ROI is actually really given or how effectively is trying to doing the cost cut or like making more revenues for the company. And the other thing is they really care about data privacy. So like especially for banks and other old manufacturing companies, they think they have lots of internal data that cannot be sent through API. So that's the reason why some of them are talking with us about open source, open weight models, especially by using Queen. And also, I think the last thing is based on the two things, they are heavily customized. So the Japanese large enterprises, they basically don't embrace a new technology. They let the new technology fit into their own work style or like the workflow they have built for several decades. So our mission, why we're doing AI consulting is basically because we have to deliver the AI technology specifically fit into each puzzle of the large enterprises. So that's the challenges we're facing, but we're doing this in a consulting way and using open source models.
Yes, thank you for for your comments, and it also reminds me that our president Fei also mentioned we have 5A Alibaba AI innovation anywhere, any stack, and anytime, and it is built for the different customer values, especially for E. Actually, which means, for example, efficiency is for some internal case, and that is more about the cost driven. But for the engagement, that is much more to acquire some new customers, and it is more to even change some new experience for the whole maybe customer behavior, small change. So with that one, we need to consider in different cases, it may also contribute into some different values, right?
Yes. By that, I think I have to say is the sake of accuracy is basically driven by cost effectiveness, or like you have to calculate that, right?
Yeah.
But when you're using large language models to develop a new frontier, you have to think, well, without large language model, these things cannot be done. So you can't think about accuracy or something. You have to think about the new opportunities, the values you're talking about, the new values generated by the usage of large language models. And that's something I think recently Japanese enterprises are starting to think, and that's the reason why some of them are really interested in this AI engine usage to develop some new business models they cannot do with their own old work style.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I think maybe we just move to another new topic. It's about ecosystem, because we know that the foundation model, that is the core engine for the whole new technology parts. However, if we want to make it achieved to meet all of the different business demands, actually we need a bridge. So this bridge could be something like end-to-end solution implementer or something like that, right? And this is for the technical part. And non-technical parts is for some consulting or methodology or some knowledge sharing or industry know-how, so that we can just make it happen. So what do you think about how we just, maybe you can share some of your approach to build the AI ecosystems within your specific local different business demands, and what do you think that is, which one is the primary opportunities and challenge? So, not sure who would like to say first.
I think in the age of generative AI, it's very interesting because unlike when we were at the deep learning era, you need to have a lot of data, and then you have to clean a lot of data. You have to label it in order for it to work really well, and thus it became problematic for a lot of companies, especially companies that are not very data savvy. The good thing about generative AI is that most, even non-data savvy company can use it almost immediately to solve their problems. And the problems that it is being used to solve is that it's a lot deeper than what it used to be. Remember, like software before generative AI was potentially improve 20% of the efficiency of your call center. whereas in the age of generative AI, it replaced the call center people. So the value of it is much bigger than what it used to be before. So which means that each of the ecosystem players that we work with, because as an AI lab, we provide the intelligence layer to the ecosystem. So we work with like wide variety of ecosystem players, because each of them will have to solve problem very deeply than what say PwC and whatnot solved before. But however, just because they solve it deeply, the value of they create is much bigger than before as well.
Okay, great. Mamoon, you want to share something?
Well, I mean, this is highly technical, but let me tell you, when we created our own super agent that advises our clients, we understood at the beginning that the current platforms, the current large models have not been able to help in terms of advisory. So it provides information, it provides data, some of it reliable, some of it is not, but it does not provide advisory. So we had to spend at least a full year in bringing our collective experience as a company to tap into all these models. We had at least 3 or 4 as a base to teach our agent on how to react to what we call active intelligence, i.e., what do you do with this information? How can you respond to a situation, to a major crisis, when there is, for example, when many global companies have faced boycott because of this war that's happening right now? What do we do? How do we respond to this? We spent almost a year as a company bringing our 40 years experience and developed an advisory tool that is sitting on these LLMs, and now that's actively advising the clients. So what it did, it brought, which is amazing, I mean, in terms of efficiency, it brought 40 years of experience to the fingertips of our clients by the best of consultants instantly. Okay. So the future we see that's happening is in that direction, and we see our role as businesses in how to speed up this process.
Great, yeah. How about you, Edwin?
So to talk about ecosystem in Japan, I think one of the things we have to consider is all of these large enterprises, although they have a huge budget for doing AI, but they are really strict on each step, how each functionality could generate an impact, either by cost effectiveness or by value. So they're not looking for a huge blueprint, actually, but rather they're looking for a small step-by-step approach to implement AI. That's actually a very interesting thing. And the other thing is, basically because lots of the IT systems, and you say maybe databases or all this kind of infrastructure stuff, kind of lags behind, really, for like 30 years. And I can share you a story, like most of the people from other places can't imagine that like Japanese enterprises are still using some code from 40 years ago. So basically they are maintaining this 40 years ago something called mainframe infrastructure.
COBOL, right?
Yeah, you know that.
I know that, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of, if people know COBOL, they'll understand. It's something from 1950s or 60s. So it's kind of rare to see people are still using that. So it's not the willingness of people, they're not trying to use AI. It's because those old systems lags behind the AI implementation of Japan. So basically, for the Japanese AI ecosystem, what we have to do is we have to upgrade the users' IT system first. So we have to help them upgrade the mainframe system. We have to help them upgrade the database system. And we have to build a whole infrastructure that's capable of using AI and by a step-by-step approach. I think that's something really interesting.
Yeah, you remind me of another story I just received last week. One of the customers said, I just introduced our coder. If you know, this is the latest version for the coding copilots, and they just asked me that, can this coder can automatically generate the COBOL? I say, maybe we can just do some upgrade transformation from mainframe directly to the latest database, or even some other new technology, right? So this is maybe also going to another topic that we know today AI can do many things, but we also need to think about, is there something that is quite different from the past years or past business needs? So when the AI comes here, so can it achieve something which it cannot be achieved without AI? So for these kind of questions, maybe, I know maybe you want to share something first. Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely. In our workflow, or like in our consultancy, basically we face lots of cases when the enterprises have to put too many workflow or too many people simply to make something done.
Yeah.
And if they don't have enough resource, they will cancel the project or they'll stop the project. But right now, with the help of AI, basically they can start a project with like, maybe 20% of the people or 10% of the people, and they can start a project by a POC. Yeah. And also something like, just talk about the upgrades coding style. So in the past, people are considered why they're using the same old code from 40 years ago is because no one really understands the whole code base. Like people are doing patches to small parts of the system, but not a single people can understand what the whole system's doing. With the help with the long context LLM, we can just ingest the whole code base into the the model. Although it's still not perfect right now, but it can largely help people understand what the code is actually trying to do. So I think that's are some parts typically in Japan.
No developers want to write any comments,
Yeah,
right? So they just use this
Especially
one to just add some
back in
comments.
40 years ago, like people don't know lean coding, right?
Yes.
So they don't have those best practices. So like people can't really read those codes.
Fantastic.
But with the help of AI, it's much easier.
Great. Yeah. How about Mr. Mamoon? Yeah.
Well, let me take it from a different angle. I mean, your CEO spoke about interstellar travel this morning.
Yeah.
The question is, how can we rid ourselves of the rules of today to think about tomorrow? And this is because we are bound by our thinking. We're bound by the rules we live by. And that is the challenge. The term AI was coined in Dartmouth 69 years ago. And next year is the 70th anniversary. So we are actually with the Dubai government hosting an AI at 70 event where we're bringing 150 to 200 best minds of AI worldwide, everybody who is big brain, philosophers, artists, to do exactly what you're asking, to sit together and rid themselves of the rules of today and think about the next 70. What will AI take to them? So I cannot answer this question. Hopefully we'll bring the greatest minds together next year to answer this question for us.
Yes. And Chee, please.
So one of the biggest things that I observe with generative AI is the fact that the creation of software system becomes a lot cheaper, a lot more affordable than before. So some of the bank that we are running, for example, we can even wipe code a internal tool for a team of 5 people, which used to be impossible. We won't build software for 5 people. But now I think as the generative AI continuously be driving down the creation of software system, I think it is possible that we might even create tool for one person, simply because it makes the economic sense to do it in this day and age.
Yes. So from my point of view, I think we can collect all of the different ideas as much as possible today, which means, for example, if you want to just bring up new ideas, you don't have any draft, can you just, actually we can just leverage the large language models to give you at least maybe 3 of that or even 10 of that one, and I can just choose some of that one and continue doing some optimizations, which means I can at least find a not too bad a benchmark or starting points with that. And together, because the language models can read all of the information very, very fast and at least give you some very quick summary and also the talking points, the bullets, and you can do a deeper analysis based on our real experience. And we also have a very great confidence that with the AI, not only is it just give us our high efficiency, but also can give us some new innovation and evolution for the whole work, for the whole of the daily work. Thank you so much, and this is a very fantastic moment, and hopefully we can also have a more bright future. Thank you so much. Yeah.